You could have called me.
That she's here now. Don't tell him.
We could share with you.
Evening, ladies and gentlemen, 6 p.m., April 10th Town Board meeting. The first item is going to be a public hearing, but prior to the public hearing, I want to congratulate Bill Clendenning and Andrew Simon for being elected to the board to consider on for another 2 years. And thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Public hearing. First public hearing, or I guess it's one public hearing, is to change our ordinance 52, amending section 52.3 per E, adding general provision for height regulations resulting in remaining items being renumbered accordingly. Creation of section 52-11, paren D, paren E, to permit a reasonable variance in height restrictions on accessory buildings. Creation of section 52.3, paren F, paren G, authorizing the Planning Commission to vary setbacks on corner lots. Amendment of section 52.3, paren H, paren 2, and 52.3, paren H, paren 3, regulating building on substandard lot size, resulting in remaining items being renumbered accordingly. That's the public hearing, and these items that you're seeing have all been gone through many of the departments for review. So the process for the public hearing will be anybody wishing to speak against any parts of this may speak, and then those that wish to speak in favor of the board's decisions or preferred decision for you to prefer that the board accept them may also speak. So first items are those that wish to speak against, and we need names for the record. Go ahead, Shirley.
Shirley Clafford. I'm speaking in opposition to the variance in the height restrictions. I just think that it compromises the aesthetics of a neighborhood when you're putting up buildings the size that motorhomes and semis can fit in. And I just don't think that's conducive to neighborhoods. I've been opposed to this for many, many years, and I would hope that the town board would think about that. How something like that can really affect what neighborhoods look like. These big buildings, and I know from firsthand experience because I have one across from me. And I just don't think that those types of buildings, that size should be in neighborhoods.
Okay, you registered your concerns. Anybody else wishing to speak against? Anybody wishing to speak any of the three parts, against any of the three parts of this public hearing? Hearing none, I'll call the negative comments or the against comments closed, and ask for anybody that's wished to speak in favor of the changes. And I assume you're here to speak in favor, is that correct?
Yes, my name is David Colby, and my wife Jean. We have the luxury of being on a corner lot. So North Park, Wazeecha, and 64th.
Sure.
And I dropped off some information, provided some information earlier today that expresses our interest in updating the property for future full-time residents and considering as soon as the next 6 to 12 to 18 months that we would like to move here from Stevens Point and become permanent residents of our cottage. We've enjoyed the cottage since 2004, and all of the excitement and activity that goes on around Lake Wazeecha. So we really appreciate that. Our challenge today and what would be answered as I understand by allowing greater setbacks in the corner lots is we would be able to do some additions to not only the house but also the garage. The garage on the property was existing when we purchased the the home in 2004. It's a very small garage, it's about 396 square feet. So parking 2 vehicles and a lawnmower is very much a challenge. So we're looking to expand that a little bit, and in doing so, we would also update the look of it. Right now, it is in need of repair, so there would be obviously new siding, roofing, windows, doors, and it would be a complete remodel of the garage. The challenge, as I understand the ordinance as it is today, is with the existing setback of 63 feet from the center of the street. The existing garage is at 55 feet. So if we were to follow the setbacks, we would have kind of an odd-shaped garage as indicated in the handout that I prepared for you. So if we add some square footage to it, we'd have an L-shaped garage instead of a rectangular garage. And also attempting to meet the ordinance based on the square footage on a substandard lot, which says it can only be 5% of the total square footage for that garage, and it would fall within that guideline. And then for the home, the addition that we want to do there is twofold. The step one would be to add actually just close off what's now a cement porch going into the home and turn it into a first floor laundry, and that's to help with accessibility as we age. Unfortunately, that's happening faster than than we thought. So we'll have a first floor laundry, and then we're looking at adding a 4-season room out of the front of the home, and we're subject to the same limitations we were with the garage. Is if we follow the 63-foot setback from this time
The east.
64th Street, we would be cutting off about a third of that addition in the front. So we're looking at some flexibility in being able to do that.
All right, thank you. Is there anybody else wishing to speak in favor of any of the changes we're proposing? Anybody else wish to speak in favor? If not, public hearing is now closed, and we'll move to our regular agenda items. The first item on our agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance, and if you wish to join with me, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item 2 states to approve the agenda for the meetings. Any corrections? Item 3, approve minutes of May 13th, 2018.
I'll make a motion to approve the March 13th, 2018 minutes.
Motion Dan, second Andrew. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye. Any opposed? No opposed. Public comment period. People wishing the board were limited to 2 minutes each. Public comment period should not to exceed a limited total of 30 minutes. Anybody wishing to speak to the board, go ahead.
Yeah, last year in July, I made a written complaint to the Police and Fire Commission, and as of today, I have not heard back from that appointed body, and their next meeting is coming up next week, and I know they don't meet very often, but I expected that the next time they would meet after I submitted this written complaint, that I would at least be on the agenda of the Police and Fire Commission to state my case. And I think it's wrong that this appointed body hasn't responded to my written complaint. And I think that the board, as being elected, should step up to the plate and do something about it. And I would like to hand out what I gave to the Police and Fire Commission to the board.
I do know that they are aware of it. I do know that they plan on meeting with it, but I don't know when. I know they've at least taken it and decided they're gonna do something with it. I can't tell you when. We don't set their schedule for them.
I realize that, Mr. Chairman, but do you not think that almost a year is,
I don't disagree with you, ma'am.
fair
I
amount of
don't
time to
disagree
wait?
with you at all. I've expressed our opinions to them to take it upon themselves to take care of it, and they assured us that they are going to do it. Just, that's all I can do. Anybody else wishing to speak to the board? Hearing none, we'll call the public hearings, public comment period closed, and move to monthly reports. Fire Department Chief Don Bone.
On board, citizens. Since our last meeting, we have been called upon 24 times for the fire department services. 16 of those were EMS calls. We had a vehicle fire, 2 structure fires that started basically debris burning or a wood burner sparks before we got our, I guess our next dose of snow. But just to tell people how dry things were, both of those fires happened 2 days in a row, and with the dry conditions, that is what caused both fires to occur. One was unattended burning, another one was just an outdoor wood boiler, but the embers that come out of those started. 2 motor vehicle accidents, 2 carbon monoxide checks, and 1 mutual aid call for the, I believe that was City Rapids. Our public relations for the month, we're looking at our smoke detector program again. It did kind of run in spurts. It seems like a few days after our meeting, so obviously somebody watches the TV. But we did get some detectors in. We actually have probably 2/3 of the ones that we got in already back out and installed. So we're looking at, we've got roughly almost 100 smoke detectors that have been put up throughout the town. And we have installed some in the village of Barron and Saratoga and Rapids and a few areas around. So if anybody's in need of smoke detectors, the program we have through the Red Cross will allow us to come and install up to 3 in your house. So feel free to give us a call at the fire station, or there's forms here at the municipal building you can check, or like I said, I've even had people just email me, and we got in contact with each other and got them installed. So it's a good program. The Red Cross assured me that there's no end in sight, so, and no limitation to the numbers that we can give out. So it's I guess something for free. It's actually free. So good program to keep going. Do want to mention again our non-structural firefighter positions. It's an opportunity for people to become part of the fire department, serve, help on some of the day-to-day calls that aren't the going into a burning structure. Requires a lot less training, things of that nature. We're trying to get some activities, like I say, a lot of what we do is traffic control, different things like that. We go and respond to, like I say, a lot of things that aren't the what you see on TV of a guy going into a burning building every day. So that's a big portion of what we do. So if anybody's interested, get a hold of us and see if we can put your services to work, and we will find things that you can help our community out. We do have the Children's Fest coming up on the 21st. That's a event down at Lincoln High School. It's hosted every year. So children of all ages, I guess, come down there, and a lot of activities throughout the whole day. Starts at 10 o'clock, I believe, goes till 3. So great event put on every year. So if you have kids or grandkids, bring them down, and everything from petting zoos to a lot of big trucks, little trucks, different stuff to entertain the masses for the day. So with that, I guess can't remember. Well, we had the Easter egg hunt that did go off relatively well. There was a lot of questions in the morning whether we were going to have it due to the little bit of snow we had. People suggested we held off for a week. I'm glad we didn't. So,
Already on that one.
yeah. So, like I say, I definitely want to thank all the people that donated, the businesses and individuals that helped sponsor that. It actually kind of worked out nice this year because it took them, 15, 20 minutes, I bet, to actually find the candy, because a lot of it was actually buried in the snow a little ways. So, went out there a couple days later and picked up wrappers, and there really wasn't anywhere near as much candy there as I thought there was going to be. So the little guys did and girls did a really good job of picking it up. So once again, like I say, I'd like to thank Midstate. It was a good event. Nobody did stick around a lot. You know, it was kind of, the weather wasn't that great, but they came, did what they needed, and grabbed their prizes and left. So good event. It's the 40th year we've held that.
Amazing.
So hopefully we'll keep that going. So, any other questions?
Yes, there was the flyers that were sent out. So can you tell a little bit about the flyers?
Oh, the Firewise one? Yeah, the Firewise program is a program that we've worked with the DNR. I guess it's to encourage people to look at their properties to see if there are things around your house that would prevent it from surviving a wildland fire. I don't know if anybody saw down south, they had a couple 100 acres go up the other day when it was dry down there. These wildland fires really take off. We helped the city of Rapids burn some of the industrial park up on the off 48th Street that day, and even some of my own guys, they said, wow, I never saw a fire move across the field so fast. Literally, it was a matter of 2 minutes and it went across the 40-acre field. So, the intention of it is to bring some awareness. Look at your property, see if you have down dead trees, things of that nature, things that you can clean up to eliminate the likelihood that if a fire did occur, that your property could survive. Like you say, it's a good program. We bring a little awareness, and our friends with the DNR are helping us send that out. So I think they did get it. I believe there is a typo on it.
Yeah, there is.
Unfortunately, the town's phone number is 424 instead of 421. So even our proofreaders, myself included, missed that, or it got printed wrong afterwards somehow. But if you look hard enough, you'll find our phone number. So if you have any questions, you can contact myself, the DNR. They do actually come, they are willing to come out to your house. They'll do an assessment, give you some tips on cleaning your driveways out, making it so the fire trucks can get into your property if necessary, different things like that they can help you out with. So,
Any other questions? No, thank you very much, and you wish to be excused, you may.
Safety department
Oh, that's
first,
right,
but
good.
there's nothing to report there, so that'll be short and sweet.
Okay.
There you
Things
go.
are looking good on the safety
Perfect
side.
safety
So,
report again.
yep. If you don't mind, I will go on
Okay.
to meeting number 2.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
We'll go to now the police department report. Chief Mel Peterson.
Good evening, everyone.
Evening.
Okay, Grand Rapids Police Department handled 338 calls for service. That's compared to 397 calls for service during March of last year, about a 14.8% decrease in calls. And the board members have a breakdown of those calls. For the first 3 months of 2018, the Grand Rapids Police Department handled 952 calls for service, and that compared to 1,056 calls for service in 2017. The Police Department issued 56 traffic citations, 9 municipal ordinance citations, and 26 written warnings for the month of March. For March 5th through the 9th, I attended the 29th Annual North American Police Ski and Snowboard Championships out in Snowmass, Colorado. Law enforcement officers from around the country and competitors and teams from England, Germany, Australia, and Canada competed in this year's event. It was a great opportunity to network and develop professional relationships with law enforcement officials from around the world. During this annual event, NAPSIC raised $12,433 for winter sports programs for Special Olympics of North America, and $1,275 for Parkinson's research to the American Parkinson's Disease Association. Through those 29 years, the the NAPSIC has exceeded $1 million that they've donated to different charitable organizations. Their primary one is the Special Olympics of North America, but it was just an outstanding event and a real good group there that does a lot for a lot of charities, so I was proud to be a part of that. Vehicles in the department are doing well outside of normal maintenance and minor repairs. And once again, feel free to stop by my office if you have any questions. I just want to mention too, I don't know if some of you are aware, but tomorrow evening at the Performing Arts Center, the Wisconsin Rapids Public Schools, in conjunction with different law enforcement agencies, primarily Wisconsin Rapids, Grand Rapids, Wood County, and Portage County, is conducting a meeting regarding school safety. That's going to be at 6:30 tomorrow night at the Performing Arts Center. So the purpose of the meeting will be to discuss school safety programs and practices currently in place, recent legislation that was signed into law affecting school safety, and plans for the future school safety improvements here for the Wisconsin Rapids Public School System. So I invite everybody out there to participate and come and listen, and I think it'll be a good learning session and a lot of information, especially with this new legislation will be there. So that's all I
Again,
have.
that's going to be tomorrow, which would be April 11th, seeing how this is
Correct.
taped.
Yep.
Do we know if Wisconsin Rapids Community Media Art is covering that or going to tape it?
No, I'm booked for tomorrow. I don't know.
You don't know offhand if it's on their schedule or not to do it though?
I can find out if they are,
Yeah.
or someone can call, but I'm booked for Edwards tomorrow.
Okay.
That-
All right, well, thank you.
Okay.
And any questions for the chief?
The new police car, is that, there was a charge like at Jack's Auto Body for like 800, was that for lettering for the new police
No.
car?
No, that was one of our current patrol cars ran into a deer,
Oh,
so.
Actually, I would prefer to say the deer ran into the car.
Yeah. Deer ran into the side of the car, did the
Okay.
fender, and did some damage to the mirror, so that was to fix the car deer
Yeah,
accident.
that wasn't the new one.
No, that wasn't the
Okay.
new one.
Oh.
I checked on the new
Yeah.
one, a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, and it's still not in production yet, so.
Wow.
that's gonna be a new car.
I just received an email, was it earlier this week, end of last week? It sounds like we're not the only ones waiting for Dodge to put their squads into production. There was another chief, and I don't recall where it was, he's got a couple of squads that he ordered through a different dealership down south, and he was sending out where are his squads at too. And his have been ordered a lot longer than ours, so
Are those made in the US or Mexico?
that I can't tell you.
I guess I don't know either.
Yeah, I don't know offhand.
And this isn't typical either. I mean, last time we bought the squad, it was fairly
That was
quick, wasn't it?
delayed.
No, it.
Well, that was the
Ford.
Explorer.
That was the Explorer,
The
yeah.
Explorer.
That was a couple months, and we're just at, I think, 2 months now.
It was.
So, yeah, so it's, we probably would have, or I can't say that, I guess, but yeah, I think we got the Ford Explorer within a couple months, and it's just been 2 months now, I think, for this one, so.
Any other questions? Hearing none. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Amy Cook, you got a little money for us to spend?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Evening.
For the month of March, current month receipts were $63,328, and current month disbursements were $235,012. Cash on hand at the end of the month was $1,227,769, with $107,372 in checking and $816,942 in the repo account, with $317,005 in the money market. Any questions?
No. In case anybody ever wonders why the checking is always around 107, 106,000, that's because the bank keeps that in our checking account, and when it gets below it, it takes some out of the repo and moves it into the checking, so we always carry roughly 100,000 in the checking account. We leave it in the other one because that one makes so much more interest, you know.
Yeah, right.
All right, we'll move on to number 6, consideration and possible action on water event permit for the aqua skiers to Coles Lake Wazicha for the state water ski show tournament, July 23rd, July 19th to the 22nd, 2018. We got that application in front of me, and Maggie is here in case there's any questions.
I'll make a motion to approve the request.
I'll second it.
I have a question.
And Patty has a question, go ahead.
When reviewing the certificate of insurance, I see the certificate holder is for Wood County Parks and Forestry. And generally, I believe it needs to be under the town of Grand Rapids. Am I correct with that? Or is this acceptable?
I have to pull last year's, I do not know.
Okay.
I'm not certain either because the event's totally
I don't
takes
remember
place.
doing one for the town of Grand Rapids,
Yeah.
but we certainly can ask for one if you need it.
Wasn't it in the Wood County Park?
Because it's in park property, so
Right, and-
I don't know if we
But we
need.
can control the water part, so I just don't know.
Yeah, and that's a
That was
good
just
question. We'll check, and if we need to get one, we'll.
If you need it, just, yeah.
Okay.
Mike, call.
Thank you.
Okay, so we had a motion by Dan, or Bill, seconded by Dan. Any discussion? No discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
I have an aye, any opposed? No opposed. All right, there you go. 7, consider possible approval of temporary liquor license for the Class B for State Water Ski Show, same dates, July 19th through the 22nd. Boy, I'm trying to slaughter that for some reason.
I'll make a motion to approve the temporary Class B.
A motion by Dan, second by Andrew, discussion. I assume that's going to be fenced in like it always is other years, no change, correct? Okay, thank you.
Good question.
Any other questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I have an aye, any opposed? No opposed.
Thank you.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Thank you.
See you again. Number 8, consider possible action on the event permit for Race Against Cancer Renaissance Learning for June 9th, 2018. You got the packet in front of you. We are listed as the insurance, self-insured, but, they have our clerk's name wrong, but
Right.
at least the town's name is there.
Yeah. Yeah, they put Jody's name on
So any questions on that? If not, a motion.
there. I can make a motion to approve.
Motion Patty,
Second.
second Andrew. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
I have an aye, any opposed? Moving to item 9, which is the 5K walk, run, plant sale, vendor sales for the Southwood County Humane Society. While that event is being held at a property that I have some interest in, I will not be voting on it, so.
I'll make a motion to approve the Run Walk for Life
That's May 12th.
May 12th.
I'll second.
One discussion thing.
Yep.
Did we know, I looked in here, it doesn't look like they requested or talked much about it in the packet, but right at like 32nd W there, where they're gonna cross, they have volunteers there for that?
Yeah, no, we're gonna ask the PD to help us assist
Because
with
I noticed in
that.
some of these, there's some,
Yeah.
they filled out some fly,
Yeah.
some of that, not this one?
Actually, I didn't even know we had that form, so.
They can choose to,
they-
if they want.
Okay, are we giving that to them every time they get one of these?
No, the ones that know, they get the form, they must get it from Peggy or Jewel and ask for it if they want
I
it.
just wondered if it'd be a good idea to get that.
We need to put it in the packet, yeah.
Yeah, because that's something, I know I've seen issues in the past with that,
Yep,
so.
yeah, that's the same run that the Children's Miracle Network has been using for
Yeah,
years.
I think it's a great route, and it only crosses that one road, as
Yep.
long as there's somebody there to make sure nobody gets hit by a car.
Yeah, they're actually we're gonna ask for police help there, and then the entrance, which is 36th Street, then they're gonna look, they'll have some senior adults that are
Okay,
helping there.
sounds good, just as long as somebody's got that.
Yep, exactly right. Is there any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
And I'm abstaining, and any noes? Hearing none, the motion carries. Have one more permit. Oh, we've got a couple more, I guess. Consider possible action on the event for Jigsaw Run, the Autism Impact Corporation. And that event is on May 5th. And that is held to where I read them all, but remember,
This is at Lake Wazicha.
Lake Wazicha also, okay.
I make a motion to approve this event on May 5th. The Jigsaw Run.
Motion Andrews, seconded by Bill. Any questions on it?
Yeah, the certificate holder also again says Wood County versus Town of Grand
Yeah.
Rapids.
Okay, we'll check on that. That
Okay.
might be how we did it in the past, we'll see.
Right.
Okay, any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. I have an aye, any opposed? Motion carries. Item 11, consider possible approval of the event permit for Walk for Life, First Choice Pregnancy Resource Center, and I believe that's also Lake Wazicha, if I remember right.
It looks like it, but there's not a map in this one. Did they indicate what they?
Yeah, I was under the impression that when we had a conversation with it, they used the same route that goes around the lake.
Around the lake.
Yep,
Yeah,
that's-
That's a very safe route.
mhm.
Mel, do you have any concerns with that?
No, the only, they were a couple of organizations, specifically Jigsaw Run. Sometimes they request along North Park Road by 64th there, where the runners actually go on the road for a short distance. So they've asked there previously, and the only other place they've asked on any of these runs has been crossing 64th on the south side of Lake 64th, going down to the boat ramp there to
Sure.
get the runners across there. So those are the only two places where they've requested assistance.
I make a motion to approve the
Motion Bill, second Andrew, any
But
other?
also, I noticed it is in the park, it says Town of Grand Rapids on it. for the-
Yeah.
So we have to figure out what.
We'll verify which. And all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye, any opposed? No opposed. Okay, item 12 is kind of a, actually, we're gonna table item 12 because we didn't put the bids out. We typically, in this agenda, would get it approved by the town board to put the bids out.
I'll make a motion to table.
Thank you.
Second.
Motion made, and second. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, it's tabled. Okay, now we move to the specific ordinances that were part of that public hearing. First resolution is 2018-11, zoning, accessory building heights, restrictions require, except for, that would require plan commission approval. And this ordinance has some changes to it, which has gone through the plan commission and through the town board, through the legislative process. And it isn't automatic that they can have a exemption to the height. There has to be a review by fire department. Public comments are considered on it within 500 foot of the proposed accessory structure, and consider the proposed building in relationship to other buildings and structures on the site, and consider the proposed building in relationship to the character of the neighborhood. So typically, I don't see this being in residential, real small areas. I expect that these are going to be on lots that are bigger. We have cases where there's lots that are 3, 4, and as much as 4.92 acres that can't have an accessory structure bigger than the 18-foot limit. So this, all it does is give the planning commission the ability to review it now and make any suggestions, and if it's denied, then it does give the board of review the option to be look at it if that person wants to go to board of review.
And also
Okay.
make a point that notification will be sent out.
To people within 500 feet.
And just for a point of order, I think we should have a motion on this before we discuss it. We got the chairman bowing for it, and now we have some other things. I think there should be a motion before it.
I agree with Bill.
Mr. Chairman, I was reading the item
I
that...
made a point of order, you can rule on it as you like. I don't care for an excuse.
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2018-11.
Second.
Motion by Dan, second by Andrew. Now, do you want me to read it again, what the changes or
I
exceptions
would like to
were?
vote, I would like to comment in opposition to this. This takes it away from the, what is that called?
Board of
Board of Adjustments. I think it should go before the Board of Adjustments, because at the Board of Adjustments, whatever decision we make, if anybody objects to it, it goes immediately to the courts. This way here, a person can come into the Plan Commission, and they can vote on this, whether it's in their subdivision or out of their subdivision, it don't make any difference. Let's just say somebody has a large motor home in Black Forest and wants to build, or even in Hunter's Ridge. No matter where it is, I know they have covenants, but this is the covenants that we have in the town, that when somebody wants to build an oversized building in height, they have to come to the Board of Adjustments because it does not allow for it. This allows for a person to come and get permission from the Plan Commission, which I disagree with. I don't know why you want to fill up these older subdivisions, and as the chairman indicated prior to this, well, I'm not so sure it's going to go in these smaller subdivisions. What is a small subdivision? I live in a small subdivision, and there's one across the road from me. I am totally against this,
All right,
taking
yes.
it out of the hands.
Okay, any other comments?
I got a question, a couple of questions, and like I said, this is, from my understanding, this is on a case-by-case basis, right? So
Right.
they look at, and it goes to the planning commission, they either can approve it, deny it.
Based on all these factors.
Right, yep, based on the ones
The A
listed
through D.
below. And then, at that point, if it's approved, then they can move forward with their building. If it's denied, then it goes to the Board of Appeals,
Right.
correct?
It would- still would have
They
that.
can take it.
They
to
can take it to, if they choose
to do
to,
it,
yes,
yeah.
okay. All right,
Where there wouldn't, if I may.
Yes, go ahead, Patty.
There wouldn't be any, by coming through to the Plan Commission first, we would go and decide, the commission would look at these A through D and try to decide if the aesthetics are correct for that area. A person would not have to show hardship. As an example, someone wanted to build a regular car garage, and they have a taller type of pickup truck. And his house was a little bit lower, and it states where the rooftops have to be, in line there. So he had to order special beams or trusses in order to have the garage door large enough, or the height limitation to drive his pickup truck in. So this will allow the Plan Commission to allow someone to build a regular car garage without having special built trusses in order to park their vehicle inside. So we were also looking at that as part of this ordinance. We have larger and taller vehicles nowadays, so this will help allow some of the people that have the lower rooftops to be able to go have their garage a little bit taller than the rooftop in order
Sure.
to park their pickup truck.
okay,
That was the intent of this.
thank you.
And if I remember right, the Plan Commission had this for several meetings. Also, the legislative had it for more than one or two meetings, and I think we tried to work out the languages that put enough protections in to make it so. Any other comments on it? Hearing none, it goes to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye. Is there opposed?
Yes, I'm a-
One opposed. So recorded. Item 14 is consider a possible action on resolution 2018-12 to amend ordinance 52 zoning setback standards regarding placement of structures otherwise prohibited within the setbacks. And this primarily came up I think I started on this 2 to 3 years ago with people that had similar instances that you've spoken to us in the public hearing where they were restricted and not able to put a larger garage or whatever within the setback. What this does, well, I'll wait until,
I'll make a motion to approve. I'll second.
well, we'll do it that way then, Bill. Motion been made and seconded by Nan. The comments is what it's designed to do is give the flexibility to the planning commission to look at the property and give a small waiver of 30% savior, which amounts to, I think, on the average, 9-foot difference for where the person could utilize their property. We have many parcels that have two sides that have been restricted, unable to use their property because the town is requiring so much for them. It still respects all the corners so that we have our proper vision triangles and everything else, but it does leave a little more flexibility. So any other comments, Patty?
Yeah. I still have my concerns in regards to this. I know that we talked, or it's in the, it reads, no variation of setback standards may be found which interferes with the vision triangle as specified in the zoning ordinance. The Plan Commission cannot, under this procedure, approve setback variations greater than 30% of a setback measurement. However, reading that again, I mean, I've looked at this several times. I keep thinking about the right-of-way. And I also know that the Wisconsin Towns Association just sent all of us an email in regards to right-of-ways. That there's something that's coming up in regards to that. I myself would like to actually see this tabled again in reference to see what the Wisconsin Towns Association is going to be working on this issue. And then also, I did speak with Peggy in regards to what her, and she's our administrator, spoke with her to see what her feelings were on it, or her concerns. And of course, she was not completely in the loop on this one. She had missed the meeting for the Plan Commission when we started to talk about this. I would like to actually table
We have
this
a
and take a
motion.
look
We
at
have
it.
a
I know,
motion.
but they can still rescind it if they would like.
Well-
But that's my opinion. Otherwise, I'll be voting no on it.
I want to tell you that Peggy did sit with Nick and have a discussion on this, so,
Today?
well, I'm not sure when it was, but I was told that they did.
It was today? Because I spoke to her today.
Okay. So-
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, just as another point of order, if she wants to make a motion to table it,
She'd have to amend the motion then.
no, she does not have to amend the motion. The
If a
motion to
motion-
table
excuse-
is always in order.
Excuse me, if that is correct, if there's a motion to table, does that take preference over a motion to approve?
Yes, it does.
I'm not aware of that, but
Okay.
anybody else have knowledge of that? If not, we'll certainly take it. Is there a second to the table? There's none, so that motion would then fail. Okay, so now the motion to approve. Been made and seconded. Is there any other discussion? Go ahead, Bill.
Yes, I'd like to comment. I think this is a very good rule. Being a property assessor for a number of years I was, people on corner lots always suffer more taxation and they have less place to build on. If you live on a corner, it's just a disaster that you can't use your property like the other ones. You know, I know, and waiting for the Towns Association to come up with this, I don't think is necessary, because just in cities and villages, also, even if a post office come in this town, it could put right out to the road. It don't have to go by our setbacks. I think this is great. I think it's a moneymaker for the town. It improves a lot of homes, and I am voting for it.
Okay, is there any other discussion? Dan?
Bill, I agree with you completely. Couldn't said it better myself.
Any other comments? I know this one has taken, like I say, 3 years to get through. It's not giving you free range to go right to the lot line, but it does give a little extra room to allow it, and it has to still meet the standards of not affecting the corner zone, or right-of-ways.
And then, I didn't get to finish, but I had one more point. Okay, let's say we allow that 9 feet.
That's not a hard number, because it depends on what the town's right-of-way is too.
Exactly, could be 30% of 63.
Yeah, could be, well,
That's where I'm going with this. So, with that being said, if somebody puts up a solid fence and we see that down the road that accidents happen and it has been granted, what is our course of action?
well, the course of action would be that a solid fence wouldn't be allowed if it was gonna get into the vision triangle, so it should be past the vision triangle area, so it shouldn't be anything, so. Okay, any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye, any opposed?
Yes.
One opposed. Thank you. All right, item 15, consider possible action with resolution 2018-13, amend ordinance 52, zoning buildings on substandards existing lot. And this is, go ahead,
I'll make the motion.
make the
to
motion,
approve.
Dan,
I'll second.
second by Bill. This is actually came to us because of a state ordinance change that requires that people that have these substandard lots already in the town with these restrictions that are in the ordinance, may still find them that they're able to build on. Actually, the town owns a parcel of land on the corner of Chestnut and 32nd Street that we may be able to sell now to somebody that'll build on it, so. But be that what it was before, it was non-standard, it was not allowed to be built on, so that's the existence of what this ordinance change does. Then, did we have a motion in a second? We did. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. I'm an aye, any opposed? No opposed.
Excuse me, those of us out here do not have a second page.
Isn't it on the back?
No.
Well, that could work.
Oh, I made extras quick tonight because I thought we were
Oh,
gonna
you-
go down to the bottom of the pile. I just threw some extras on top and I did those. Just go to the bottom.
That means you can leave.
Did you find one with the double side? Okay.
Consider possible action, resolution 2018-14 to amend ordinance 24 building codes adopting certified municipal status to assume the responsibilities of from DSPS to provide inspections for commercial building in the town of Grand Rapids, be completed by the town of Grand Rapids building inspectors.
Make a motion to approve 2018-14 to amend ordinance 24 of the building code.
Motion by Andrew,
I'll second it.
second by Dan. My comment on this is that this is a change to now do the commercial building inspections by the town staff that we hire out to do our inspections. These would not be buildings that are over 25,000 cubic feet, which is something like a mid-state. We would not be doing those. We would be doing the small commercial buildings that people would build, like maybe Ron's Refrigeration or somebody would build.
Is that defined in that square feet by SBS 3?
Yes, it is. Yeah. And what it is we would not do plan reviews. That's another thing that commercial buildings, a certain size have to have plan reviews. That would not be part of this, that the town would be authorizing to do. We're only looking to do the commercial building inspections on the small things to kind of keep them in compliance too and help them build their buildings. Is there any other discussion? Go ahead, Bill.
I just think this one is so premature. We're used to having a zoning administrator that has all the qualifications. And we hire somebody else, such as the person from the city of Wisconsin Rapids. And now that we think that we're going to lose that person, all of a sudden, I don't know why we're making it so stringent that these people have to have certain things. Have not we went along without these people having it now, and what harm did it cause us? I just have trouble with this. Why there's such a rush on this? I think this should really be studied. My personal opinion is, I think we should have a certified zoning administrator to be doing everything, such as we had at one time, 2 full-time, and I think that's what we should have. We don't have them now because the building industry back then was not building, and now they're building, and I think it's time we got some professional person in here to do this. That's my thought on it.
Comments that we got from staff was that it would be better if the town could do the commercial inspections, because the state building inspectors are so limited that they hardly get out. The big construction projects like a Mid-State Tech, they always have an engineer on site. Those are always well managed. We know that. We do not know that the small commercial ones, whether they're following all the rules. And they just put their building up and don't have any inspections. That's why the desire for us to have our contract is with an inspector that has commercial building inspection. So,
And then also, as a point for B, if the building inspector.
24.5B.
24.5B, if the building inspector decides to hire a subordinate, that particular person must be approved by the town board before they can work under that.
Under, well, I'm not sure.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, subject to approval by the town board.
They must be certified.
Okay, any other comments? All those in favor of the resolution 2018-14 setting commercial inspections by the town, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye, any opposed?
I'm opposed.
One opposed. This will be a while before this goes into effect, quite frankly, because Nick will have to be working with Peggy to get the languages all set up and all the reports done and whatever, and for Dale to be registered or as our building inspector agent. So it'll be a while before we start doing these, but they'll start moving forward on it. Item 17, I believe we're on, right? Consider possible action on resolution 2018-15 to adopt ordinance 70, licensing, regulating, allow for mobile food vendors. Nick decided to assign this a different number because it should stand by itself rather than being attached into, which one was it going to be attached?
No, he's creating a new ordinance where all the licensing will eventually fall under, so rather than putting
Oh,
this, so,
nice.
and then eventually he'll get them all under this.
Put them all. Okay. I'll make a motion that we approve resolution 2018-15.
I'll second it.
-15. Ordinance
Motion
number
Dan,
7.
second Patty. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Have an aye, any opposed? No opposed.
This was good work. This was a good one.
That was
This is
a lot of work.
a lot of work, but positive.
Yeah.
Okay, 18, considerable possible action on resolution 2018-16 to amend ordinance 39, schedule of fees and table of forfeiture, setting fees and forfeitures for mobile food vendor licenses.
Make a motion to approve resolution 2018-16 to amend ordinance 39 for the fees and forfeitures table.
Motion by Andrew, second by Arnie. Discussion?
So the mobile food vending license for the audience out there is $50.
Right.
And then if there's a violation, they operate with a mobile food vendor vehicle. If the first offense is $50, and if they're found to operate 2 times in the town, it would be $100.
That is correct.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Thank you. This does not include the ice cream man that goes through town, correct? That person does not have to have a license.
Right.
Yeah.
He's thinking of the Schwans.
So you're talking about Schwann's or?
Sean?
No, not Swans, the ding-a-ling, ding-a-ling, ding-a-ling.
The guy who runs around by
Yeah.
the,
That's a mobile food, but he does not, that person does not have to have a license.
he
Was
doesn't?
he not licensed through the county either?
Not that I know of.
Why is he special?
Because
I don't know,
Yeah.
but that's
That's
what I
all.
heard.
I believe our typical license we were on is we're relying on them having the Wood County license already
Right.
to provide the services, which means they need to have hand washing and other things available for them, so I don't know if that ice cream vendor, we'd have to get some conversation from our attorney, but I'm not so sure that they would be covered under this.
I think it's worth
I think they
checking.
would be.
I thought they would be too.
They may be covered under it, but I don't, I guess Bill's,
So every
what
year he
Bill
has
was asking if they were free, and they didn't have to.
I guess the way I read and interpret the ordinance, it'd still be $50 a year
Okay, yeah,
for us if they're gonna
Yeah.
operate in Grand Rapids.
yeah. Then there's that set of, whatever. they have to-
Guidelines.
Guidelines there.
Yeah.
All right, anything other discussion on it? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No opposed. 19, considerable possible action on revisions to town financial management policy. There's just one change on the credit cards that they're wishing to add. Dan, do you want to go through that?
Sure.
I'm going to read them, whatever changes you're making.
Yeah, the changes were recommended is, town credit cards shall only be issued to department heads. Receipts for town credit card purchases should be returned to the town clerk in a timely fashion. Reward points earned to the town credit card purchases shall be reserved for further town purchases. That's part that we've added. We have also added that cash advances on credit cards and use of credit cards to purchase gift cards are not allowed.
Okay,
Make a motion to approve our financial management policy. Any changes?
motion
I will
Andrew,
second that.
second by Bill. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye. Any opposed? No opposed. Consider possible action on the resolution town's vehicle policy. Dan, you want to cover that again?
Okay, so we looked at adding 2 points to this one. The first one is to the extent practicable, which means if you're in the area and it's feasible, fuel or gas for town-owned vehicles shall come from the town supply. The other portion is car wash tokens / cards are the responsibility of the department heads for each department and may be requested for allocation by town employees as needed. Vehicle washes shall be limited to the basic or standard level. Those
Okay.
are 2 items we were gonna add.
Is there a motion to approve it?
I'll
Or
approve
deny
that.
it?
I'll make a
to
motion
approve
to approve.
By Patty, second by Andrew. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye. Any opposed? No opposed? 21, considerable possible action on revision of the town's telephone policy. And this is just a small revision. Go ahead.
Yeah, just one change on this is changes or upgrades in our cellular phones or cellular phone plan must be approved by the town chairman, chairperson, or designee.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve or deny?
So moved.
To approve.
Motion is approved by Bill, second by Andrew then. Any discussion? Hearing none, all-
Yes.
Go ahead, Patty.
Okay, so the designee could be Lisa, the clerk, one of us.
Or Mel, the police chief, or
Okay.
something, whoever happens to be going down
Okay.
with my permission.
Okay, and then in the legislation committee, I thought we discussed under the responsibility, the part where no personal long-distance calls should be placed unless the clerk or treasurer had been notified so that the appropriate charges can be recorded and then paid to the treasurer when the bill has been received.
I think we talked about taking that out of there because all of our phone bills are unlimited. Now we don't have any
Yeah.
Right.
call minutes restrictions.
Yeah.
So-
Is that something that we can?
So
Eliminate?
can I make an
Or-
amendment to my motion or to disregard or take out that no personal long distance statement?
I guess you could, you
I
could
second
amend,
his amendment.
you could amend it to remove that sentence that says, refers to the personal long distance calls.
Yeah, no personal long.
Okay, and Bill has seconded that. Is there any discussion on the amendment? If not, you're voting on the amendment only. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye, any opposed? Now voting on the motion as amended, dropping out the no personal phone calls due to it being, no charges for all calls. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye, any opposed? Okay. Got that, Lisa, to change?
Yes.
Thank you.
22 is consider possible action revision of town's road discontinuance policy. And this is a, we'll go ahead and,
I'll make a
in
motion.
past I've always introduced them, but
Yeah, I'll make
I
a
don't know why I
motion
can't.
to approve.
Second.
Motion by Dan, second by Andrew.
What are you approving? You guys slow down a
Possible
little bit
action.
on your seconds here. Okay.
This is actually drafted up by our attorney Nick because of the request for people that want road discontinuance from the town that were roads have been previously designated as town roads. This is a process through them or whatever, and it sets out for them if there's any cost, which depending on which way they choose to go. So it's a policy that we can hand to somebody if they're looking for a road discontinuance, and we'll be able to
And this has also been reviewed and discussed at the legislative
right.
level.
Yeah, I just didn't know what your motion was all about. You didn't get to
We're
finish,
just-
so, okay,
Just letting Arnie talk.
all right.
All in favor, say aye.
I,
Any opposed?
I'm opposed.
One opposed?
Unopposed.
One opposed. There it goes. Item 23 is the chairman's board committee appointments. You have those in front of you. I did not change any of the board committees. The only change on the Board of Appeals is John Foley wanted to be a little less active. So Mike Edwards is now a member, or is being suggested as being a full member, and John would take the alternate position.
and then the board of review was alternates,
Alternates, those are actually alternates to the board. Those,
Okay.
they're one-year appointments each year.
right? Okay.
The motion to accept my appointments.
I'll make that motion to approve.
Motion Patty, second
Second.
Andrew. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye. Any opposed? That better be an aye, huh? Consider approval of proposed road projects for here, which is seal coating 48th Street South from Griffith to Town Line, approximately $25,000. Woodrock Avenue, Sampson Street to the city limits, $50,000 approximate. 36th Street south of Highway 54 to Biloxi, which is a trip project. That'll have to be a bid-out project, estimated at $45,000 with $19,000 to come back to the town in form of a state grant. And Golf Course Road, Pepper Avenue to Airport, $63,500 approximate. Any approval motion to approve them?
I'll make a motion to approve the road projects for 2018 as listed.
Is there a second? I will second for discussion. Any questions or comments? Go ahead, Patty.
So Golf Course Road, that improvement it will help the airport expansion. You're anticipating more traffic in that area? or-
That wasn't the reason for it. That road is set low, and it holds water a lot, and it's breaking up real bad on the edges, so that's what we were looking at doing to it, is raising it up 3 inches and then milling in the surface, and then we would have a whole new surface for that road. It actually goes in front of Tri-City Golf Course. It doesn't have anything to do with the airport.
Okay.
It's behind.
Behind
It's
it.
behind there, okay. And then Velocic, that's over by the industrial park?
Right, that's the trip grant fund that we did last year. That's 36th Street to Wallace. It stops right there. And Wallace is half in the city and half in Grand Rapids. And the city has indicated that in a future year, they'd be willing to repave that, and then we would share costs on that road.
Okay.
Those are heavy traffic, truck traffic roads into that warehousing area.
Yeah.
Any other comments?
Yes, I do. I would be voted against this, and for two reasons. This is the only thing towns have, is roads. We get money for roads, and one person makes a decision, and I say, on these roads. And I was at this meeting of the Public Works Department. There was no public comment. I wasn't even asked as a board member if I had any ideas. I still say we should go back to the road rides. That's what it's all about. and look at these roads, and we all have suggestions. We all hear throughout the year, what roads, what's the matter with my road? How come they don't do anything? We used to do it in this town when I was first on, and I've heard people who wasn't on the Public Works Committee do it. So I just think this is not a one-person show on what roads are going to be done. So I am voting against it.
Your comments are accepted, Bill, and I'll tell you that this is on the 5-year road plan for the town of Grand Rapids. It was down in 18 for Whitrock Avenue, in 2020 for Golf Course. 72nd Street was an 18 or 19 project, and that those projects are being moved down, so we followed the town's master plan for road repair plan that we submitted to the state.
May I respond?
You can ask, you're still able to comment.
Okay, so some years here we did a dead-end road and never put a cul-de-sac on the end of it. 2 years ago, maybe a year ago. We did right on 45th Street. We did it. I asked, why are we doing that? Well, because the guy pays taxes, we should do it. I don't think that's the way these decisions should be made. I think the board, and I'm used to it, being over 30 years on a town board, that's the way it is. You go for a road ride and you talk about the roads. When I first got on this board, man, we toured all of the town of Rome and looked at those roads. And as far as bidding on these roads and somebody taking it, I think we're having some lousy jobs done by who we're having build these roads. And I would be glad to indicate to the board on a road ride exactly where they are that were just done a couple of years ago, and they're in terrible shape.
Yeah.
So, as to the comment of that one person made this decision, this wasn't one person's, the committee got together. We did take a look and drove these roads previous to the meeting, looked at them, talked to the town crew, got their input on it, and from their recommendation, I believe these were priority roads, and a good decision was made.
I would like to know when those meetings were, because they were in violations of the open
The
meetings law.
meeting, you were sitting at the meeting when it was.
Oh, I thought we went on a road ride. And
No. Individually.
It's a.
Prior to, when we got the
I'm voting
agenda.
against it. I don't need
No,
it.
I need to clarify. Prior to the agenda, there was a list of roads. The board member, myself, went for a ride, no meeting, and looked at possible roads, period. There was no meetings, so there's no violation.
All right, so any other comments? Hearing none, voting on the road projects, and the town only has 183,500 this year, or 187,000 this year. Typically, we have $300,000, but we're paying off the last payment on Town Line Road. So hopefully next year we'll get into a thing, and if we'll have more money to do, obviously we'll have more input. All those in favor of the proposed project as presented, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye. Any opposed?
Opposed.
One opposed. Thank you. Number 25 is consider the possible action of adding the fire department needed item into our next newsletter. You see the draft that's in front of you. It's been reviewed by the fire chief. I believe Andrew was working with them on this. To meet your satisfaction?
I have a question. So is the fire department going to be paying for part of the newsletter?
Newsletter that'll be going out this spring, is that coming out of the, is that the retirement or recycling grant program?
And it's that because you put in our indication of our choose to reuse in our recycling program. And I think the fire department should put in their budget because they're doing this too. I just think we should all share in that.
One page will not make it go over the weight limit, Bill.
Oh, thank you for your comments.
Okay,
I appreciate them.
I know you do. So anything else? I think it's a good attempt. I think this is our first start of hopefully a process to bring the fire department up to full staffing again. Do we get approval? Motion to
I'll make a
approve?
motion to approve the, adding this flyer to the spring newsletter.
Second.
Motion by Bill, seconded by Andrew. Any other discussion? Or Dan and Andrew, I'm sorry. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Any opposed? No opposed. I believe this is supposed to be, Bill, is there a DNR recycling workshop in Clover?
Yes.
What you gave us wasn't really much of just a email, but
It's tomorrow.
it's tomorrow and
It's tomorrow.
was there any cost to the town?
You know, there's no cost to the town, it's a free one.
Motion to
I will
approve?
not be able to attend that.
Oh,
So I would like, the committee, when they met, they proposed two of us going, and I would then, as chairman of the committee, if it was approved, I would allow Rail Nasty to go to that.
okay.
I think it's real important.
Well, here we go. Now that's talking out of the, it wasn't approved or wasn't even motioned yet, but here we go. All in favor, is there a motion to approve?
You asked me a question and I answered it, Mr. Chairman.
All right. All in favor, say aye. Aye. I have an aye. Favor.
Patty was first.
All right, 27th, consider a possible action on Public Buildings Committee recommendation to the town board on office remodel project. And I'm not sure why this revised one here, is there a change on
I
something?
had an old one in there, so this is the correct one, so.
Okay,
The revised one is the correct, so the public, oh, do I gotta wait till there's,
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
all right. So, what we did is, we're looking at remodeling the, town office building where the girls are. There's really two parts to it. There's the construction phase, which we did receive a proposal from, Edwards, Quality Construction. Reviewed it with them. The job quoted at $7,750. The Public Buildings Committee would recommend that we approve that portion of it. And also there's another side of it, which is on the electrical. MGE Company LLC sent us a proposal for doing the electrical work, which is going to entail moving some of the outlets and taking some stuff out of the wall and stuff like that. That portion is $1,232. So the Public Buildings would recommend MGE Company for the electrical and Edwards Quality for the construction.
okay, any other questions?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
What?
Thank you. Yes, and I'd also like to thank Ruben Van Tassel from the county.
Oh, yeah.
Who did our drawings for us, and they were very helpful in submitting them for our RFP, our request for proposal. And I don't think we could have really had it as good as we did without those
Yep,
drawings.
I agree.
And
Bill.
they were done free, and it was at the okay of the need to be people to okay those things at the county level.
Okay,
I have a question.
go ahead.
Is model after the county clerk's office? Is that kind of
Yes, it is.
Is it?
Yes, it is. Even our handicap access to it, it makes a lower desk so a person can come in with a wheelchair and go up to that. So it's handicap and
One other
everything.
question, just, we have the allowance, $2,500 for the cabinet and countertop. What's the normal protocol on how you guys decide? It's the Edwards proposal? And Andy's.
Oh, okay, so what that is in the proposal, the $77,500, $7,750, they've allowed that allowance up to $2,500 for that project. If we,
That's what we'll spend on that.
if we make changes, or, we have the option of a countertops, if we wanna go with granite or something.
We will,
Yeah, there would be an.
More than 2,500.
Right, there will be an additional cost, but he's giving an allowance of up to 2,500 for
Is he
that.
picking the location where we're buying them, or are we getting them?
He has,
Vast.
yes, what he will do is he will provide, samples, okay, from some people that he deals with, and if we choose to go with that one, great. We'll do that, same with the carpet.
Can I just make a suggestion? I know he has a source for these.
Mhm.
That's it's not an Amish community that makes them,
Mhm.
and they're very inexpensive and they're very high quality.
Mhm.
I don't know if we can make that suggestion and maybe have them try to see what they would cost for them.
Yeah, so that's on the cabinets?
Yeah, they're very inexpensive.
So
Very
those
quality.
cabinets are going to be built right in
Yeah.
when they
Oh,
go.
that he's building them?
Yep,
Okay.
Yep,
So the
he's-
countertop is what we're gonna pay the $2,500
yep,
for?
yeah, so that is, the countertop is what he's really, is the allowance
Okay.
for. But the cabinetry itself below, that is all included, and that's part of the,
Okay.
There also has been a request for a pre-construction meeting. I don't know if you saw that.
Yep.
Yeah, a pre-construction meeting, and we have 3 painters, two of them have already, that are going to paint this. This is not in this bid right here, or not bid, proposal. But at that time, they're gonna come in too, and the person that we're going to choose for that will probably be chosen on that pre-construction meeting. And all these questions will be answered, and your input will, be. We're also got some stuff coming from the county that may offset some of this price. So.
Oh, cool.
yep.
All right, any other discussion? Go ahead, Patty.
And the-
We haven't heard from you yet.
I know, and the computer, John, to take care of that.
That's supposed to be this weekend?
I don't know if it's this week, I know he talked about.
He's going to be invited in the pre-construction thing.
And then they're gonna figure it out.
And they're gonna fix it, meet with the timeline of when
Okay.
everybody is.
Jewel, not today, I don't know what the result of that was.
Nothing as of, until once there's this is approved, then we'll move forward on that.
And then they're gonna be, stationed out here.
The plan is the office staff will be stationed out here.
Okay.
We're gonna set up a temporary, headquarters. The plan is that they would come in on a Monday morning, and by Friday afternoon, they would be done.
Great.
So that's the plan, and we were very adamant about that, and I believe it's,
We're on time and under budget.
Yeah, we hope so.
yes.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the proposed remodel, go ahead and say aye. Aye. Any opposed? No. I don't know, about 5 years in the making, huh?
So I will be getting contact with these individuals. I will then be setting up a pre-construction meeting. Everybody will be obviously aware of it, and any questions will move forward.
Okay. Item 28, consider possible approval of Tuesday reviews events for May 9th, May 19th. Yeah, thank you, Patty. Yeah. And September 15th, 2018. I'll make the motion to approve them. Is there a second? Dan, discussion.
So, Bill, let me see, you're in charge of this. What do you need from the town other than, in the years past, I think last year we approved money for a dumpster, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, was that sufficient?
No, this year I have a dumpster being donated. It's not, the plans are not, so it could be a very large dumpster. All we have to pay for is the rubbish in it. So they were going to be saving $175 there. And we might get the garbage also. And so we don't run into the situation we have. We're also getting from Gotta Go Rentals, we're getting a bathroom for each event. It's going to be stationed out there, and Billy Joe Kessler, who runs that organization from the town of Saratoga, has offered to have some portable.
So, at a fee, or is he donating?
No, donating.
Really?
Any other discussions on it? So you are not asking me to call for dumpsters this
Not
year?
at this time.
Okay, just so I'm clear. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. 29, May disbursement vouchers. Any questions?
I have some. When, on page 17,
And what's the name? That's easier. It's alphabetical, so.
the LOSA withdrawals,
Okay.
so is that money that has been, do we have to budget that? How does that work?
Actually, these withdrawals are actually through our Horton manages it. And these funds have been put in on a yearly basis for these particular firemen. And after they hit us at 20, it's 5 years to be vested. And then after 25 years, they can pull it out, or 65.
Yeah, or is it
They've
65?
changed.
Or did it change some of it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the younger age now.
I think it's 60 or,
There's a percentage, if you're this age, you get a percentage of it.
Yeah.
It just got changed recently.
Yeah.
So you can only remove it after.
You have to reach a certain age and have so many years vested. and then-
Okay, but you can still remain as a fireman, as well.
Oh,
And
sure.
then, okay, so
Yes.
these aren't people that are retired or?
Not necessarily.
Not
Some are.
Okay, so it's not actually anything that we have to budget?
No, we just, we have the annual allocation that we
That
put
you've
out.
always done.
Mhm.
All right,
Okay?
thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, motion is not needed, so we will just get the signatures on them. And operator license. We have 4 that have been approved by the PD and 1 that is denied. So we have a Carla Kramenacher for Ridge Kayla. See, I've got bad bifocals, I'm getting my eyes done. Patrick Murphy for the store, Alexander Reeves for the Jammers, and Tony Marie Turner for Jammers, and we have a denial for a Trish K. Huff due to an incomplete. Is there a motion to,
I'll make a motion to approve the 1-year appointments that you had read and deny the one from Bud's Corner Mart for Trissa Cobb.
okay, and a second by Andrew, motion
I
by.
just have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. One of the things on the denial is there always an open policy to come before the board or correct those things?
Yeah, I'll be sending her a letter tomorrow when she gets the option to come back and appeal.
Okay, thank you.
we've had that in the past.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Some reason, sometimes people forget to put things on there, or we don't see them, one or the other, I'm not sure what it is. Okay, now we're on to, did we vote?
No.
Motion to approve the licenses has been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye. I have an aye. Any opposed? No opposed. Okay, Public Works.
We had a 32. I mean, I just like to say something about the election.
Yeah, well,
Oh, we're not.
we're on 31
Oh,
now.
oh, oh,
We're on 31 now.
oh, oh, 31.
It's because it's the monthly reports, so you don't have a meeting for 31? That's
Oh,
just
I
your,
put it in the wrong place then. Okay, now I got it. Okay.
All right, first is Public Works. Snow plowing this last snowfall was what they call a pain. We did have some issues where we tore up corners of roads, tore up some yards and spots, but we're repairing them all, so those that indicate to us that we had issues, we've taken care of them, or they are being taken care of, so. It's always an issue when the shoulders are not froze, and going around a corner, sometimes the wing goes in prematurely. So, speed limit signs for Wazeecha Avenue are ordered. We should have them soon, and that will then be posted down to 25 miles an hour. Rest of the equipment is good. The only maintenance we had was on the white truck needed a brake job. It's his first one, and that was a 2002, so it's first brake job on it, so we went a long time on that one. Any questions on Public Works?
This last snowfall, I've received several reports, and I've even went out and videoed some of the damage. Been some terrible damage done to our roads. And furrows dug all over this town. And I know what I'm gonna hear, that's town property, we can do with it what we want, but the people that are complaining are the people that own it. They're the town people that own it. And I say, if I had somebody hired to do my driveway, and they plowed my lawn up, I can't understand why that happened, and the terrible damage on a couple of the roads, I just can't believe.
The reports that I saw were only 3 written reports. If there were other ones that called, if those are written up and given to the town, we'll review them. But that's all I have in my possession is 2, maybe 3 calls that were called in. One was through a police report, which was checked out. Yes, the furrow was. We rolled it. They are to repair it, just like we would do anything. I mean, you don't know how hard it is to plow a road in wet, heavy snow. I'm not giving them any excuses. They are professionals. They all have it's commercial driver license, but I'm sorry, we will fix what happens. Any other questions?
On that same note, I also had some phone calls, went out and looked at some yards, and same thing. If you talk to the crew, it was wet, heavy snow, the ground was thawed, so as soon as they hit it, it's like putting a knife in butter, and they did throw some sod back, but
I think
they didn't. They tried their hardest to abide by the
Some
things.
of the neighborhoods, I think, because we didn't have a snow bank, it was very difficult to see. I know I could see where there was a couple of times when they came off the roadway a little bit because they had a hard time figuring out where the road was.
Patty?
I too went and looked at some damage and concerns during this last, but it's also very difficult, especially like in a lot of the subdivisions, and I feel sorry for the snow plowers. The ditches are actually made to hold snow. They're not really made to hold water. They are to hold water, but their main thing is to hold snow. So they have to have somewhere to push the snow to begin with. A lot of the roads now, and especially in subdivisions, are winding and twisting. It's very difficult to be able to follow those curves exactly. I know what it's like. I mean, I haven't plowed public roads, but I know what it's like to plow a road. It's very difficult, so I spoke to the public crew myself and asked them, their input on it, and that is what they had explained to me, and I totally understand it. They have a very difficult job, so.
Okay, any other comments?
Yes, one other one is about street sweeping. Are we going to have street sweeping like we used to in the past, or did we stop doing that?
We sweep what streets that need to be swept. We have not started yet. We haven't even scheduled it. We did put the sweeper on our own unit and did some of the real bad stuff before it. We got this last snow, so we, at this point, are stopped again. And as we get our shoulders back, we don't have the shoulders in most subdivisions or areas, we'll look at what we need to sweep and sweep what we have to. We typically don't put sand down all over the roads anymore, so we don't have as much to pick up, but yeah, we'll be sweeping some.
So we used to hire another person, I believe it's from the town, so now we only use our street.
No, I didn't say that, Bill. I said we put ours on and did some of this stuff. It's not saying that we won't hire somebody to do some of the work. We just haven't determined how much we have that actually needs to be swept yet.
It'll be based on what we think we need, right? Correct?
We only have $183,000.
That's,
Okay, any other on Public Works? If not, let's go to the airport. We'll cross the report tonight. Runway 30, which is the short runway, construction is set to start this month. May 10th is the groundbreaking ceremony for the $4 million project that will be at the airport. That will be at 2 p.m. We're anticipating several of the legislators from the area being here, because that's also May 10th is a economic development meeting going to be held at the Meade, and legislators and area representatives will be invited to that shortly. And then they'll come out to the airport at 2, like I said, for the groundbreaking, and then there'll be a bus down to Sand Valley just to see what that area is there too. May 24th is going to be a business after hours event at the airport. The airport approved the funding to hold an event there, and that'll be an open to the public type event where people can come in and take a look, see what's going on. We expect several of the locals with their planes will have their airplanes out there, and that's a business after hours, and that's typically from 4:30 to 6:30, but you'll get your meeting notices. Bidding on the projects, the $4 million project and a state discretionary will take place on June 20th. Review and awarding of the contracts will be on July 19th. The project is to get the the apron completed first, and which would give us more parking for the necessity of the larger planes. And we anticipating that will be able to get finished and blacktop yet this year. So when we start out next spring, we're going to have more construction going on, but at least the parking ramps and everything will be done. Questions on the airport? Hearing none. Recycling, solid waste, what do you got?
Well, we have a meeting tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock. Anyone is certainly welcome to come to it. Some of the things we're going over there is the annual report, and also a local vendor that takes brush and the lawn clippings. Hope will be present, and if the person is not, then he is not going to have that. But he is coming to talk about that, hopefully. So that's it, and I choose to reuse, and I thank you for that. I think it's going to be quite an event this year. So,
Plan Commission? Or I should ask first if there's any questions, I'm sorry. Hearing none, Plan Commission. Patty, what do you got?
Wow, 5 dog exemption permits for 3 dogs or more last night. Yes.
So we raising,
Wow.
Yeah. 3 of them, or 4 of them we approved, and 1 we didn't approve, and we gave I think it was 60 days. Yeah, 60 days in order to get their dogs in order before we would allow approval of that. And then also the certified survey map, James Bocach, we approved that one. And
Okay.
we didn't have anything else coming up on the agenda, and I think there were 6 new homes to date that Peggy has issued permits for, so that's good.
just a comment to her, I asked her today if it was possible to run maybe a quarterly report, and without great detail, just say we had 6 homes, 12 remodels started, 3 garages or accessory buildings, and she said, yes, that's pretty easy to pull out of her data. So what I'd like to do is, when we get that information, is maybe once a quarter, we'll put it out on the town's website and the town's Facebook page, and email it to anybody who wants to be interested in seeing how things are going.
Right, because, and then also there's the annual reports, we'll have that on, so.
Sure.
And that'll be on the, you gals, scan that in the annual reports, right?
Great.
Okay.
For the website.
Mhm. Anything else?
Nope, that should be it.
Public buildings?
Nothing, we got our remodel going, and
Any questions for him?
No, I think you covered it, thank you.
Legislative committee, we met and approved a bunch of stuff and got a whole lot more working, I guess that's about the long and short of it.
Is there another meeting lined up?
Not scheduled yet, because I'm needing to try to find out my schedule first before I set any meeting, so, we'll move on to public safety. Andrew, anything new?
No, we didn't meet this month, but did meet with Chief Bone and go over the flyer that we approved tonight.
Okay, any questions, though? I'm Adele, but Patty?
Maybe Bill can elaborate on that.
I put a copy of the last minute of the May 19th meeting. We had Rick Kokota is the one that basically facilitated that. We had two speakers at it. Jen Jensen from Jensen's Ecology. They're with Sand Valley. There's some saying, the golf courses, they use an awful lot of water and they're have high capacity wells. Well, Sand Valley does not have high capacity wells, but they do dig a hole and pump out of that. So it's not classified as it. Give us quite a history of the golf course and and how they took that sand and what they did with it and how they're growing the grass. They don't have to make it as green as it is on other ones. It was very interesting. I think we had 17 people at the meeting. And then we had a presentation by Kevin Kurtz, and he's with Stay Green Landscaping, because a lot of this stuff that gets in our wells and water and waterways it's not just from farmers. A lot of it is people who have beautiful lawns. They know nothing about fertilizing, and they put on stuff they don't have to put on, and all it does is run off. And they give a pretty good program on that, and they're trying to educate people on when they come to buy this stuff or do it. And even they admit it. They'll go out and they'll put this stuff on the lawn, and people go the next day, and they don't have to. People water at the wrong times, and they try to regulate that, and so then that was the thing that was. And then we had a roundtable discussion, and then trying to pick new people to speak at the next one. We have several of them. Rick Bakokata is looking for one, cranberry grower. And our next meeting is going to be held April 19th, Thursday, at the Saratoga Town Hall.
It sounds like from reading it that there was some frustration expressed by some of the people in attendance, or is that what it was? That's what it says, something about frustrations? Nathan?
Well, yes.
Shared some frustrations.
Yes, Nathan was upset from the county grant. Yes, he was upset. He probably says he's not coming to any more meetings.
Okay. Well, I think your intention is to bring all people into this. Isn't that what it's supposed to be?
That's what it is.
Okay, well, keep us informed. Anything else, Patty?
That should be it.
Well, what about our little meeting we had?
Go ahead.
I asked Patty to go with me to the city of Wisconsin Rapids here a couple of weeks ago because the mayor wanted to discuss the aquatics center with us. I wasn't sure what he was looking for at the time, but long and short of it is they're looking for money.
Yeah.
And asked us to participate in it and to get our residents would get a local rate rather than a out-of-towner rate, per se. We need to do a lot more thinking about it, and the initial number is, I don't know if we would want to talk about it publicly. So.
Is that something that would come up at budget time?
Well, I think it's.
It would have to, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it needs to come up in a whole discussion, and it's not to take this in a short little 2-minute discussion. There's a whole lot to it that we need to have everybody involved in, so I guess it's just our first breeze with it. We'll need to have a full board discussion with it.
If anybody wants to contribute, they can definitely contact the mayor's office to help them.
I think it'd be nice if somebody from the city came here and addressed this board and.
That's exactly what we were just talking about.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
but
it's gonna-
I think
we have to-
that meeting, that would have been nice, but.
Well,
Maybe
quite
because
frankly,
We didn't know what.
We didn't know, we thought he was gonna say, Gee, Grand Rapids, we take all your land, so.
You can have free
Cut all your
membership.
trees.
Alright, we'll, Economic Development Personnel Committee didn't meet on anything. WTA meeting,
The WTA meeting, right,
You went?
I was the only one that was there at it, although we had 4 people. A person from the sheriff's department and his wife was there. Actually, there was no state legislators present, and most of the conversation was on farm technology days and how maybe it's better now, but how they're running short of volunteers and things like that. And April 20th is the next meeting, and that's going to be with the town of Brock. But I would like to hand out something at the Towns Association. If you do, on the back page, on the second page, it's Xed out. This is to do with the 75th anniversary. This is the meeting of the Towns Association Board of Directors meeting. And you'll see where it says Wisconsin Towns Association 75th anniversary preparations. And these are the motions. You know, I think is what should come out of this is there should be something in the book about people and who wants to get on this committee and join it. I don't think this is just a job for the town of Grand Rapids to present this. So I'm hoping that they're going to go back now and figure out how it's going to be done.
When is that?
The 75th
No, when
anniversary.
is that decision to be
Well,
made or discussion?
I thought it was going to be made. She handed this to me and what's her name? The director.
Gimler?
She handed this to me and said, Bill, we're the only 2 on the committee. And I said, no, we're not. You know, that's.
I have just a question for you, Bill. That was the night that the League of Women Voters panel was to go, and apparently got canceled because of illnesses or whatever. And then you chose to go here? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, I did.
Okay, that's what I thought.
I didn't have to sit there and cough if this is a kick in me. I didn't want to cough. I had a bad cough. I didn't have to use it.
I'm not asking for any excuses. I just asked.
Well, you mentioned it, Arnie, and you mentioned it for a reason.
Anything other questions? If not, we've got individual reports from town board members. The only thing I want to ask Amy needs to let us know something. We're working with Advanced. Their count versus our count is different. Tried to get a hold of Dale, right, and still not communicating with him, but
Hopefully tomorrow.
Could you, what is that?
the counts that they're saying are higher than what we've had on our tax roll. So we're trying to get it straightened out with Dale because right away, number of units. Okay, so Amy's been trying for better than a week or so to get a hold of Dale. He hasn't responded, but now she has his direct number, right? So we're gonna try to communicate. If we don't get satisfactory resolution, Bill, I'm gonna bring it to your committee so that you can figure it out, okay?
It is right, and I do not know why they're digging into it. Because when you stop at our house, that is a unit. And I know their problem, but. I'm not
Right, so I'm just telling you that's what's coming down. Andy, you got anything tonight?
I just want to thank the townspeople for allowing me to serve in their 2 years. I got to participate or go visit the Easter egg hunt at fire department. I was really impressed by the fire department and how they conducted it, put it on. It was a good turnout considering the weather. And that's all I have.
Lisa, you got anything tonight?
I do, I have the election report in front of you.
Okay.
I'll just go over the numbers briefly.
Sure.
We had, this is for the April 3rd election, we had 4,693 registrants prior to the 20 days before election. We had 15 late registrants in between those 20 days, and then 52 registered on election day. We had a total number of voters of 1,572 for the election. 25 workers we had, and absentee electors, we had a total of 194. 61 of those were ones issued by mail, and then 133 that came in person and voted in the 2 weeks prior. So we got 182 of those 194 back, which was a very good number. Costs, notices for the paper notices, $142.29, absentee ballots, postage, $98.21. Poll workers' wages on Monday for preparing the absentees, $75, and wages for election day, $1,855, and lunch, $100. So a total of $2,030 was the cost.
Nice
So-
report.
I got a question. So is this I mean, this seems pretty good for,
For an April election.
an
it's
April
very good.
election. And then as far as the absentee, is that a typical amount that you normally get? Is that high, low?
It's
What is-
higher than the last April's, but I think it's just becoming more and more common as people choose to do it ahead of time. So, and I
Okay.
think after the presidential, it became even more common after that. So I think the number will
Okay.
just keep rising.
Mm-hmm.
And the number of male ones is about the same as in usual, 60 to, or so, isn't it?
I think it was 40 the last April,
Yeah.
so it might have gone up.
But early in person, is it a week period of time?
2 weeks.
2 weeks worth of time, they can come in earlier than vote, and people are choosing to do that because it fits their schedule rather than,
It's just convenient. Yeah.
Spring break.
I just want one other comment on that. I just want to commend Lisa, you and the whole staff for the way, you know, this thing ran like clockwork and the poll workers
I was
and
gonna say
everything.
thank you, and the poll
They
workers,
they
absolutely.
did a phenomenal job and like I said, people in and out, and I've heard nothing but positive.
Yeah.
We're
remarks.
lucky that we have as
Yeah.
many poll workers who want to work, and I can't use them all every election, and they
Yeah.
want, you know,
Yeah.
other places are scrambling to get them, and
Yeah.
I have plenty.
So the dynamic rug cleaning, is that part of, part of the election expenditure?
Yes, because the state requires that we cannot leave rugs down
Yeah.
for handicap accessibility, so yes, the very, very dirty carpet it's getting cleaned again tomorrow.
Yes.
So hopefully it will come clean.
Yes, thank you for your hard work on
Thank
that.
you.
Nothing for me.
Dan?
No, I would just like to congratulate Bill and Andy. Look forward to working with you at least for another year. We'll see what happens next spring, but I think we got a solid, good board with a lot of good opinions, and I respect each and every one of them. I think this is a good group. So,
Bill?
Well, I would like to thank the voters for getting out. I did see a lot of the voters going door to door, did hear a lot of comments, and I appreciate those comments, and I will work on some of them for you. And I also remind about this, we all usually go to these spring and fall conferences, and this one is coming up. I have already registered for it April 30th. So,
Yep, that's at the annual Root Aware, those are, if you care to go, you can go.
I would advise, people to go to them, because you see, there's a lot to learn there, and a lot of questions you can ask.
And I have nothing else to add to the thing, so 33 is a public comment period. Again, for the board, anybody out there wishes to speak to the board, 2 minutes each, total 16 minutes. Anybody else wish to speak on the evening? If not, next agenda, we'll establish it as we go.
Ask
he says
for
he put it in our
an agenda
mailbox.
item?
Yeah.
Okay. One of the things I'd like to maybe put on the next agenda is for us to discuss the building inspector contract. It's nearing expiration date at the end of the year, so the timeline for proposals and trying to find avenues for building inspectors, I'd like that.
Sure, yeah, I was planning on going to RFP this year
Okay. And then
after this contract is done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Okay.
totally planning to talk to everybody about that. You just beat me to the punch.
Okay, good.
So,
I'm
but
glad
we're on the same page. We are,
Yep.
because it's a very important piece, and we got to do it early enough to be sure we're set up, so.
And then, after listening to this meeting, maybe it's something that legislation, we can talk about that, but to discuss maybe a policy for developing or choosing the roads as a town instead of just a committee, my suggestion. So there isn't such conflict every year. I've heard this discussion for probably 5 years out of the 6.
I understand. I take it under advisement.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else? Hearing none, the motion to adjourn is in order.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Dan,
I'll second.
Patty, any discussion? Probably not, huh? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, or opposed, we're adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you.